Hi, this is the Tap the Table Productions interview, I guess, for the Flash Theatre Festival, and we are here with
Catherine Hartshorn, Catherine Belmiga, Zoe Harbour and Bridget Welberlove.
Now, these four ladies are all part of
Between Two Worlds Theatre Company.
And their production is called
In Her Reflection.
There we go, and that's the most staged bit out of the way, so we'll actually get on to some more informal type chatting. Right, so to begin with, girls, we just want to sort of know what brought you all together to decide to form Between Two Worlds Theatre Company.
Well, we were in separate groups on our course. Katie and I were together, and Zoe and Bridget were together. And well, I can't speak for you guys, but I think we knew that we wanted to work together, Katie and I, for a while. And then we kind of thought, who are the strongest girls to work with? Possibly. And we spoke to Zoe and Bridget, and they were quite happily obliged. And it all started from there, really.
The rest is history.
The rest is history. And how long have you been rehearsing for the actual project to begin with?
Probably just over a year, because we started research probably this time last year.
Yeah.
And then kind of practical rehearsals started just
about a month ago.
Well, we started some before Christmas.
Oh yeah.
For our showing. Yeah. But yeah, I think as September we started doing it lightly, and then it's more intense rehearsals now.
Yeah.
And how is the process going?
Good.
You all looked at each other when you said that. I should just point out.
It's going well. It's daunting because we've only done so much devised work on this course, and the majority of it has been directed by a professional director. So this is the first time we've properly had to put a show, like an hour's show together, just us.
Yeah.
Something that's quite nice about our process is we all sort of think the same, so we all like work together, and it just sort of meshes.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people like ask us if we've argued yet, and
Yeah.
we're like, no, we haven't argued, and they're kind of surprised by that.
It kind of does seem to fly in our rehearsal. I think
Yeah.
we work quite hard, but we never really kind of seem to look at the clock unless it's almost lunch. But then it kind of, we go until the end of the day, and then we go, okay, I think we've
Reached a natural end.
yeah, and then just disperse from there. But I mean, I think it's been going really, really well, to be honest. I think
It's nice because we're very organised, which has helped so much.
I can see there's all these booklets in front of us with like schedules, everything's highlighted,
colour coded.
Very organised indeed.
Well, we just don't want it to get to like the dress and tech and be like, oh my gosh, we've got so much to do. So we've tried to be as organised as we can, which has helped.
And it's hope because we try and link everything up, make sure that we have a natural reason for everything that we do in our show, not just because we like it. So I think the highlighting and everything else is helping us to go, okay, this is actually why we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's not just
getting carried away.
because we enjoy it.
So you're talking about justification there, so what are the sort of the main themes that are justifying what you're doing in the show?
I've said a lot.
Could you rephrase the question?
Yeah. Well, certainly. You just say a lot of shows that happen, you do see things and you're like, well, why did you do that? You've just told us that you're sort of trying, like everything you're looking to justify. Mm-hmm. So what are those reasons? What are the themes of your show that you go back to that justify your reason for your content?
Research
It would be like the sufferers of gender dysphoria.
Mm-hmm.
Like we always link back to any sort of research, be it verbatim or like family relatives, or we always link it back to how they would be feeling at that particular point, or how I think we always link it back to gender dysphoria and how the person who has it would be, how they're experiencing it at that particular point.
I think it's been, because especially none of us have gender dysphoria, so it's hard for us to kind of get into their shoes, but kind of we have to, it's all fun making a good show, but then you've got to remember that it is quite a delicate subject, and try and bring it back to kind of not the seriousness, but then also making it entertaining and serious at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of making it as factual as possible, and kind of not, because it's so easy with a subject like gender to go off on a tangent on like feminism or sexuality or something, which isn't what gender dysphoria is about. So I think that's what we're trying to bring it all back to remember. Like, we have gone on tangents before and then go, actually, it just kind of sounds like we're kind of going off on one now. So and then we have to bring it back a little bit. So I think that's kind of something that we keep reminding ourselves.
And we have to be really careful as well, because we don't want to enforce an opinion on the audience. So we everything that we write has to be two-sided, sort of argue the good and the bad, but we always have a conclusion, but it's not for the audience to be like, oh, I have to think that now. And
I feel like we've told them off in some way.
It's more of a suggested conclusion than a this is.
And obviously, like, through the research we've done, like, we've recently put a survey out for people with gender dysphoria, and it's just so interesting finding out, because there's not just, it sounds obvious, but there's not just one story. Like, some people say that they felt this way since they were 5 years old, and they've known since they were 5, and then other people have said they've only realised in the past couple of months, and they're well into their 30s or 40s. So it's difficult, but it's challenging to try and get all of that across in one show, so that they think that it's not just one opinion, really. But yeah, it's very interesting learning about it all.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure there are people actually wondering what gender dysphoria is. So here we go with the definition, just so everyone's aware.
It is a condition in which a person feels there's a mismatch between their gender identity and their biological sex and their gender identity.
That's it.
Yeah.
And what would that be in layman's terms?
So if they kind of have all like the biologicalness of a woman or a man, but inside they feel like their identity doesn't match up to it, so they'll feel internally that they have thoughts like, well, I say thoughts like a man, that doesn't really describe it very well, but they just feel that they're in the wrong body, and that it's kind of a mismatch between what's inside and what's outside.
gender is between the ears. Sex is between the legs.
Yeah.
Where's that one from?
I can't remember where we read that. Various.
Yeah. We found the quote somewhere.
Well, talking about research, how have you actually gone and explored the subject of gender dysphoria and gathered information regarding it?
You stumble upon a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be looking at one thing and then they'll mention somebody and you're like, oh, okay, I'll look up at that person. So it's a lot of just random things that come together and then it just happens.
What we originally found, which we found really interesting, was that there was a Roman goddess called Venus Castina who reacted sympathetically to feminine souls locked up in male bodies. So that was sort of like our starting point, and then we sort of, in our show, we scrapped the idea of Venus Castina. We found it really interesting that through history there's been so many cases, and it was only really in the Victorian times when male and female and masculine and feminine sort of came together. But before that, like, there was a French king who was known as Her Majesty. So that sort of interested us first in our research, and then as we sort of expanded out, we found so much.
We said, because it's a group of 4 females, we didn't, the first thing we all said to each other is we didn't want to make a show that was feminist and that was really traditional, like stereotypically kind of, we're women, women's rights, all this, as much as we agree with it, we didn't want to be we didn't want to be kind of like throwing it in people's faces.
It's been done.
It's been done, exactly.
Yeah.
So we kind of, but we liked the idea of gender. So we discussed it, and then we started talking. We were like, maybe this will be challenging. Gender.
This is interesting.
So what was it about gender dysphoria specific, or what was it about the subject that really kind of drew you into it? In that respect, why did you think it was something that specifically needed to be tackled?
I think the fact we didn't know anything about it, and we quite early discussed that at schools and in education. Generally, you're educated a little bit about homosexuals, etc., but they really don't teach you anything about transgender.
Just gender.
Or gender, and
isn't it something like they're not allowed to teach it, but they're allowed to then, if someone
thinks they have it,
they will then inform people of it of the.
They can have private sessions, can't
Yeah.
they? Like counselling, but
Yeah.
it's not allowed. It isn't like a whole class
Yeah.
subject that they discuss in like PHSE, etc.
There was a guy in one of our surveys and like chats that we did, and he said that when he was younger, he thought that it was normal that little boys wanted to grow up to be girls, and it's like.
And then when he got older, he realised
like,
that wasn't the
when he
case.
got older, he learned what like gender dysphoria and being transgender is, and that's what he realised where he fitted in. But like before, he had no idea what it was, and he just always felt like that, which is quite interesting. Yeah, we just thought there's like a gap in the market for it.
Well, yeah, because honestly, like with our proposal, we had to do like a mock proposal to the Arts Council, and the only way really that they'll fund you is if you choose a topic that hasn't really been covered that much. And as much as there has been transgender theatre, like we went to go see a show in London. What was it called? It was
His name was Sonny Drake, but I can't remember what it is.
Sonny Drake, yeah, with gendered intelligence.
Yeah.
We went to go and see that. So there is theatre, but it's just, and obviously there's theatre with drag queens, etc., and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't cover the more sensitive issue of being transgender.
Yeah.
So we thought
And
that was-
a lot of people don't know the difference between transsexuals and transvestites, which
Or what transgender means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had to explain our show to a lot of people, like, so what is actually the difference?
No one knows how we're going to do it.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it's
just
gonna be
like,
a
what are you
surprise."
doing? Like, they don't have a clue.
Well, I guess that'll be the surprise then.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the show itself is called In Her Reflection.
Yeah.
Now, what type of performance are people expecting here? I've seen there's lots of different things mentioned on the Flash website. I've seen music mentioned, physical theatre mentioned, comedy mentioned as well.
Yeah.
What do you think people are going to expect?
It's quite eclectic. It's postmodern. We decided to go with that. So it's postmodern, and we, as a group, we're all singers. So we thought we'd utilise that. So there's quite a lot of choral singing in it, and original music, which is yet to be written. But we have that, and then we kind of stumbled upon a bit of clowning, didn't we? Because originally, the three of us were like, we're not funny, we don't want to put clowning in it. Like, Zoe's very funny, but the three of us were a little bit like,
That's a lot of pressure.
sorry, okay, you're averagely funny. But we actually, the more we kind of improvised and messed around, we were like, actually, this is quite entertaining.
Yeah.
In a nice way, not in an offensive way. But it's difficult because we've had to find the balance between making it comic, because obviously an hour-long show on gender dysphoria, it could quite easily be very depressing, and people could walk out feeling a little bit down, possibly, and we don't want that, because one of our objectives was we want them to be entertained.
Yeah.
So we have put a bit of comedy in it, but like I said, we've had to tackle it quite sensitively. So there is a reason. If there is comedy in it, it's more poking fun at the media, etc., saying how this is how people talk about transgender people, and this is what they have to listen to. It's more kind of quoting them rather than our opinion.
I think we've tried to make the show kind of. I think they transgender people sometimes get put in a box of being kind of quite mysterious and quite sad and quite bless them.
Yeah.
But I think once from what we've spoken to them, when they've changed, it's kind of liberating for them. And I think it doesn't have to be a sad subject or a bad subject for them. It can be really, really good, and like they finally found their bodies and themselves, and they are people too, obviously. So I mean, you've got to have a laugh sometime.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Do you find it helps sort of hit home the message as well a little bit with the sort of light and the shade?
Yeah, because I think we discussed it yesterday. We said that we tackle it in quite a British way.
Which means what? Exactly.
Say as it is.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
We're not hiding anything.
Yeah, and you know.
Well, you want to be realistic. You want to show people the realisation of it, and if we only show them certain bits of it, then it's not, they're not going to get a full idea of what it's like as far as we're aware.
And that's why it's helped us, like, because obviously, like I said, we're not transgender. Looking at blogs and having conversations with people on, like, we've been on Reddit a lot because they've got a subreddit of transgender, so we've gone on that and spoke to them about it. And getting their views, 'cause especially when you're hiding behind a screen, it's easy to say how you really, really feel, and there's people talking about their parents' views and stuff on it, and like, you probably wouldn't mention their parents that much if they were talking face to face with someone, but I mean, it's kind of getting a real view of what it's like for them and how it's been, and it's getting really kind of the good parts and the bad parts, and kind of the rawness of it. So they're not kind of holding back and going, oh yeah, but I think it's okay, everyone's fine about it. It's going, it was okay. Yeah, I spoke to my mum about it because I thought she'd understand, but turns out she doesn't. And yeah,
someone said yesterday on the survey, my mum immediately told me I wouldn't be a very pretty woman. When I first told, to which I responded, you think I don't know that, you think that it doesn't eat away at me every day, that I don't cry myself to sleep some nights thinking that. And that was like, to actually, rather than just reading it on a blog, for it to actually come from someone responding to our questions, we were like, oh my gosh, like, it's not very nice.
I would say at least 90% of our show is all found text.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Yeah, would you say a lot of it is verbatim at all?
Yeah.
You do put in there things like that.
All of it.
It's all quotes taken from things that people have written or said.
Some real people who've experienced these issues.
So that's the only way we could get close to it, really. Because otherwise it would just end up in us going on a tangent.
Because whilst we don't want to throw facts at people,
we can't speak for ourselves because we don't have it. So
you kind of just assume how it is.
We've tried to avoid like statistics and all that kind of all that stuff. It's more like taken from their mouth, really.
Yeah.
So yes.
Now we'll go on to a kind of serious-ish one now. Now, if we look at the influences, now I'm going to make this quite open. So these could be personal influences on you guys as a theatre company, or influences on your piece in terms of the style and how it's done. So is there any methodologies that you've followed for your piece? Is there any other, maybe say female theatre companies or other female companies that you've followed at all in terms of a style?
Movement-wise, didn't we say Pina Bausch?
Yeah.
Because it's
That's it. On the matter.
she does it from real life actions and she develops it from there, so it's always, we want it to be real, but we don't want to just be sitting there picking up stuff.
Again, talking about the justification of having a reason to do things.
Exactly. So we want it to visually be informative, but also entertain them and be exciting for them to watch. And I find Pina Bausch, I love watching stuff that she does on YouTube. Good old YouTube. So it's exciting to watch, and you can see the emotion in it. So that's why we want to put it into ours, because it explains it.
Yeah, when we worked with the Paperbirds, and Gemma, our director, I think sort of helped us with the idea that you can make something postmodern, but you can also create a narrative arc. So that's something that our piece has. It has a narrative arc. It follows a story, but it still has those influences. I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And we've we spoke about found text, and we've taken that from kind of like Forced Entertainment's kind of found text things. A lot of all the stuff we studied in second year in regards to postmodern theatre, we've kind of tried to look at. And then like physical theatre, like Lecoq and Frantic Assembly.
We've got some Worcester group in there with
recordings and projections. Yeah, we've got some fancy, well hopefully if it all goes to plan, we've got some fancy projections. Yeah, that's like Worcester group. Yeah, we've put Victoria Wood down here, and I assume that's because of music.
That was right at the beginning, that was like at the end of last year that we wrote that one.
It was.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a comedy style and music. And
which we definitely still have in there.
So. Yeah, we do.
We have influence from spoken word as well.
Oh, and we have a lot of sampling, which is Worcester Group as well. Taking a lot of sampling from like TV shows, films, and also clips off YouTube, etc. Like documentaries. We're using that as well.
Carol Churchill's been an influence as well. Bridget's great at writing, so we sort of just find quotes and then go, there you go, Bridget.
We all have our niches, don't we?
Come back to us in a week.
Sounds like you're going gathering stuff from absolutely everywhere then.
Trying.
Yeah. It's quite postmodern. but a nice way of postmodern.
Yeah.
Like the performance is going to be, I think. Well, hopefully,
yeah.
it will be. Yes,
It will.
is.
The thing is, like, the show's got to represent a year's worth of work, so we have to be thorough with the research. We can just kind of do it a month before and be like, oh, something
Especially
about
because we
transsexuals.
didn't know anything about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've completely taught ourselves. Like, I feel like loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff.
We said we'd go home, yeah, and we'd go home to our parents and we're like, did you know this about transgender people? And they're like, what?
Bombard them with information.
I think they're going to look forward to when we finish this project. The facts won't stop.
So would anybody going to see the show be wrong in expecting Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, but with 4 girls?
Well,
Extremely wrong.
Yeah.
We're not dressing up.
No, we're not. No, yeah.
I think that we're not.
Right, okay. I just wanted to clarify that just in case anybody was going, right, okay, I've got it.
we,
not like that.
we follow the story of one character, and I don't think it's giving anything away by saying we're the feminine souls locked in his body, and that is how we've tackled
because I think
being four straight females.
Because I think everyone assumed that we were just going to dress up as blokes, really.
Yeah.
Which
I think people still think that.
I think I don't anymore. And we didn't want to do that because I think it's just if it's what people assume we're going to do, then we don't want to. We want to see something out of the ordinary.
We try to be clever with it.
Yeah, which I think we have.
Yes.
So what do you want people to take away from it? You've said you don't really want to put an idea upon someone, but there still must be an objective behind your show, as in what message you want to put across. What is
I
that?
think more of an encouragement of thought.
Yeah.
I think people jump to conclusions too much as regarding to judging people. I think hopefully we won't be forcing things down their throat, but it'll open up a door of them kind of going, oh, okay, I've learned some things, I've kind of seen the other side of the story. Then they won't kind of go along and start like protests and stuff about trans rights and stuff, but they'll just, I think, be more open to the world around them, I think.
And it's a massive generalisation, but I think certain people of certain generations maybe, and also some people of our generation may see transgender people and just think that they're just dressing up as the opposite sex, and that it's nothing psychological, it's just maybe attention seeking or something like that, which it's not. It's there is a lot of psychology behind it, and we also want to kind of make people think about the way that transgender people are perceived in society. Like in one of our surveys, we did say, oh, how does it make you feel if you see a transgender person? Generally people were kind of like polite, and they were like, oh, it doesn't really make a difference to me, but then you did get the odd person that like, they do make me feel uncomfortable, and we want people to think, okay, why do they make you uncomfortable? Because they're no different really to any of us. They've just had to deal with a horrible thing, which has been really difficult for them. And same as if you're homosexual and coming out as being gay or lesbian.
I mean, a lot of people know, like, from an early age what this is. So we've spoke about nature nurture in our show a bit as well. So we're kind of encouraging the thought of that it's something that they were born with and that they know, like, from a very early age. It isn't them kind of get to 16 and go, you know what, I am gonna.
My mum raised me being a little bit feminine, so therefore that's not the case. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, sorry, Wayne.
I was going to say, if you could kind of describe the show in like a sentence.
Ooh.
Either all as a group or each or whatever. It's entirely
That'd be a
up to
great
you.
coincidence. It'd be a massive coincidence. All at the same time.
Good. Go.
Show in a sentence.
Or in one word, if that's easier.
I want a word. Ooh, gender. What? You're going to say...
No, I think I've got it. I'll show. The journey of the thoughts of Alex. No, is that confusing?
That's very mysterious. That could be about anything.
Well, that's like a teaser. That sort of gets people whet the appetite.
In a word,
Very reflective.
reflect. Something about
It's very reflective.
And we have mirrors.
Reflection. That's why I said, because there's lots of like different meanings, like mirrors, actual reflective.
And it's called In Her Reflection.
Yeah, exactly. We've linked that in with the set.
Right, well, thank you guys. That's our first interview at the Flash Festival, so thanks for coming along. Now, what we're going to close with is sort of all the information that people need to know about getting tickets, where you can come and see you. So what dates and what times are you performing?
Well, we're at the Looking Glass Theatre in the main theatre.
What a coinky dink.
Yes.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
We know
It's very apt with your show.
Or was it deliberate? Was it deliberate?
deliberate. Yes, of course.
So thoughtful.
There's a reason for everything.
And the times and dates?
The 13th at 10 a.m.
That's the 13th of May.
Yes, 13th of May at 10 a.m. And then 15th at 2 p.m.
Yep.
And then the 17th at 7 p.m.
Different times of day, no excuses for not being able to see it. That's at the Royal and Derngate at the Looking Glass Theatre there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where can you get tickets from?
You have to ring the Royal and Derngate box office up, and it's £6 a ticket.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you can
it
take
is.
some different deals and stuff for students or other people if they want to see up to 5
More
shows, I
shows.
think, yeah.
Yeah, but the Looking Glass Theatre is separate to the Royal and Derngate, but you purchase your tickets
From the
through-
Royal and Derngate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. So we'll put all that information on the website in terms of where you can get tickets, when the dates are, but thank you for that interview. That was Between Two Worlds Theatre Company. Say bye, guys.
Bye! A bit of cheese.
Yeah, that wasn't cheesy.
Oh yeah.